Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Starting with the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Beneficent. I'm sure you must be fine and must be following my lectures regarding the epidemiology and its applied aspects. And we all know that without the knowledge of epidemiology and of course research methodology, we are not in a position to go handsomely in the third semester for the research. Then, first of all, we have seen the different aspects after knowing its applications and its definition. We have seen the different aspects of the different calculations and different data which we collect through morbidity. So different obviously rate, ratio, proportions, prevalence we all pick up through morbidity information, data of the morbidity data and the information regarding the morbidity in a community or in a society and in a population. And now different knowledge, different information we can get through mortality. The mortality in a community may be helpful for the improvement of the services, the evaluation of the services, and of course the trend of the disease killing people. So what this mortality is, first, so this is the measure of deaths occurring in a population, measure of death, accounts of the deaths in a population. Uses of mortality data, obviously the information with what we get from the deaths occurring in a calculated or in a specified time, explaining the trends in overall mortality first. What are the leading causes of death in the society? So mortality data will be helpful in first of all analyzing or prioritizing, realizing the leading cause of death in a society, leading cause of mortality in a society, then deciding the priority for allocation of the resources. That will be helpful to us. What type of finances can be, to which direction the finances should be utilized, to which direction the machinery should be purchased, these technical skilled people should be appointed and called in for help, maybe from abroad. So all those things will help us. The mortality data will help us. The designing of interventional programs or the vertical programs, I can say. Through mortality rate, we can also realize that horizontal program, obviously the primary healthcare is going on, the vertical program. What should be the vertical program should be there. So mortality data provides the starting point for many of the epidemiological studies. In fact, it's the basic knowledge or the first-hand knowledge or the beginning of the epidemiological studies. Many countries have routine system for collecting mortality data, that is the death certificate. That is the only way by which we can calculate the mortality data, because not all the deaths occur in the hospital, not all the deaths occur in the government or private custody, so that may be difficult to analyze. The only thing is the death certificate. So that certificate recommended by WHO is in two parts. We all know that part 1 deals with the immediate cause of the death, strangulated hernia or for example heart attack or whatever it is, which started the whole trend of the events, whole trend of the events leading to death. Say for example it was heart attack, and in part 2 is recorded any significant associated disease like diabetes. So if it was a heart failure or it was a cardiac arrest, maybe it was associated with something like hypertension and diabetes. So in part 2 the information regarding the associated phenomena, maybe first was the accident and then somebody died during the surgery, maybe it was appendicitis first, always there was appendicitis, and now it's a chronic appendicitis which actually turned into ruptured, and then the patient died with it, and during the laparotomy it was a death. But the leading cause, but I can say the associated phenomena was more important in that case. So it's in the part 2 we record the significant associated diseases like diabetes that contributed to the death but did not directly lead to it. In developing countries, mortality data are not complete. We all know that in Pakistan and in the third world countries or developing countries where the resources are less, where technical people are less, most of the people do not go to the hospital. Some of the deaths are occurring in the say for example in the homes and not reported at all, reported after many years for certain other legal issues, but not reported for the medical purposes. So in the developing countries, the mortality data are not complete and accurate, because of 1, incomplete reporting of the deaths, 2, incomplete and inaccurate recording. Then is the rumors are there, died for that reason and that person died for that reason, not the particular data is there. So the practice of medical certification is not widespread in whole of the world. But if it does exist, then cause of death is not exactly mentioned due to lack of diagnostic evidence. Sometimes even the diagnostic facilities are not there, the tests are not being done, the patient reaches late in the hospital, dies on the way, sometimes dies at home, sometimes dies because of some other reason, and dies. The deaths are hidden, the reasons are hidden, the causes are hidden, and inexperience on the part of the certifying doctors. The doctors are not fully qualified to pick up the cause of death on dead body, and the absence of the postmortems, which most of the time the parents refuse, the attendants refuse, the followers refuse, the relatives refuse for certain other reasons, to hide themselves the reasons, or maybe the cause of death was some sort of poison and declared as cardiac arrest, which may be important in deciding the cause of factors. The factors maybe that may hinder to find the cause of death in such cases. Then in the mortality provides us crude death rate. We all know that we have calculated the crude death rate is the multiplication of the death rate with the population, that is the crude death rate. Then the specific death rate, we can see the specific death because of some specified disease over divided by the total deaths in that area. So that will help us to find out the specific death rate or ratio. Then is the case fatality rate. That is the case fatality rate is the proportion of the deaths to the causes and represents the killing power of a disease. Case fatality proportion. Case fatality proportion. CFP. So case fatality proportion is equal to total number of deaths due to a particular disease in a year, total number of cases due to same disease for the same year. In 1 year, 100,000 people suffered typhoid, and out of those only, for example, only 5 or 10 or 100 people died with that. So 100 multiplied by 100 divided by 100,000 will be 1. So 1 out of 100, 1% death will be there with typhoid because of the case fatality proportion will be for typhoid will be 1%, and that is the killing power of the disease. So we know the total deaths with the same total number of cases with that disease and the deaths with that disease. Then is the case fatality proportion. For example, in an outbreak of cases, 20 of the patients cases of that meningococcal meningitis were found to be reported at hospital, and 3 of them died. So 3 died of 20%. That means it will be 15%. So the case fatality proportion will be 15%. So out of 100 people, 15 people picking up meningococcal meningitis, 15 die with that disease. So case fatality proportion of meningococcal meningitis will be 15%. Then the proportional mortality rate. Proportional mortality rate. Proportional mortality rate is the number of deaths to a particular disease are occurring in a particular group in a year. Number of deaths to a particular disease are occurring in a particular group in a year, and divided by the total number of deaths from all causes. So that will be proportional mortality rate for a specific disease. So proportional mortality rate will be number of deaths to a particular disease are occurring in a particular group in a year, and in the same year the total number of multiplied by 100 would give us the rate of the proportional mortality rate. Then is the survival rate. Obviously, that is another way to look into the, and with another angle to look the situation, the survival rate. So this is a measure of the proportion of survivors in a group of patients followed over a period of time, that is 5 to 10 years. In a specified time, in a calculated time, extrapolated time, we see that how many people survived having that disease. Say for example, at the start of 2016, the number of patients in a population, in a community suffering from hepatitis C were, for example, 100,000, and how much were there at the start of, will be there at the start of 2021. So that will give us the survival rate. So the survival rate for 5 years is equal to total number of patients alive after 5 years and total number of patients diagnosed or treated at the start of those 5 years multiplied by 100 would give us the rate. Then is the survival rate. So survival rate is used to describe the prognosis of a terminal disease like cancer. It helps to assess the standards of the therapy. We can see the standards of therapy. We can see the realize we can say that the level of care. We can realize the severity of the disease. In some cases, maybe it's communicable. So nowadays, the severity differs for many diseases. So we can see the severity of the disease as well. Now, the survival period commences either from the date of diagnosis of the disease or from the start of the treatment. So we can see we can set a landmark whether it is a diagnosis because sometimes the people do not go for the treatment. So the start of the diagnosis and then we see further for a calculated stipulated time for 5 years, and then we see how many people survive with that disease. Then is the adjusted or standardized death rates. That is again adjusted or standardized are very much important information to the knowledge or to see to the trend of the disease or to see the trend of the mortality trend of the disease. So if we want to compare the death rates of two populations with different age composition, the crude death rate is not the right yardstick. That is important. This is because the rates are only comparable and it is unmanageable to use a series of age-specific death rates. The answer is age adjustment or age standardization, which removes the confounding effects of different age structures and yields a single standardized or adjusted rate by which the mortality can be calculated directly. The adjustment can be for the age, sex, race, parity or anything we can call for the adjustment. The standardization may be carried out either through direct or indirect method by choosing a standard population, not the age structures of the population. Let us see why that is to be done. The difference in population structure can affect the crude death rates. For example, in table 1, if you see that there is a table, this is the table, and if we see that there is in this part, population 1 has got this proportion, population less than 15 years, 1500 population proportion 0.3, annual adjusted standardized death rate is 2, and the annual number of deaths 3. I just let you know how. Then is for 15 to 44 years, and then for more than 44 years, then for all ages. Same is the case for this population B, less than 15 years, 2000 people. The death rate is the death proportion is 0.4, and the annual associated adjusted standardized death is 2, and the crude death is 4. So just see, now we see that, for example, in table 1, two populations are there, A and B, have the same age specific death rates, column 4. This is, in column 4 we see less than 15 years 2, 15 to 44 years 6, and more than 45 years 20. Then see in B, less than 15 years is 2, 15 to 44 years 6, and 45 is 20. That is the same. So, for example, in two populations A and B have the same specific death rates. In column 4, that is a person in a specific age group in A is at the same risk of dying as a person of the same age group in B. There is no true difference in the risk of the death. However, A has relatively more number of older people, over 30% over 45 years as compared with B. $1,500, more than 55 years of age, they have 1,500, and only 500 in B. Now see it again. So A has relatively more number of older people, that is 30% over 45 years as compared with the only 10% over 45 years in B, column 3. So as death rate is high in older ages and because A has more older people, this will lead to a higher crude death rate for population group in group A. The difference in crude death rates for population in B can be explained mathematically as follows. The age specific death rates column 4 multiplied by the number of population in each column 2 determines the number of deaths in each age group. So total population in 2 multiplied by adjusted standardized death rate per thousand slash thousand in column 4. So if we multiply this 2 over 1000 to 1500, the result would be 3. And just see it here. It is 45 years, 1500 divided by 20 over 1000 divided by 20 over 1000 would result into 30. Here is 30 and over here it is only 10. Over here it is only 10. So the age specific death rates in column 4 multiplied by number in the population at each column 2 determines the number of deaths in each age group. And therefore, the total deaths column 5, the later divided by the total population gives a crude average death rate. The crude death rate can also be obtained by multiplying each age specific rate column 4 by corresponding population proportion 3 and summing the resultant number of the deaths. So main thing is the crude death rate would be different for different ages because of the number of the people, the population strength of that area. The crude death rate is therefore really weighted average of the specific death rates in which the number or the proportions in each age group are the weights. Since A has a higher proportion, increased weighting of the older people for whom the age specific death rates are higher, the crude death rate is higher in A, that is 9, than B, even though the risk for dying each person in each age group is the same. So if we just see that the age group has got the risk of death that is the same, but as the population is more in 45 years more in say for example in this group A population, then the number of deaths would be more, although the crude death rates for is not much different, but the crude death rate per thousand will be entirely be the difference. Entirely will be different, and that will be only, it is 9 for A population and it is only 5.8 for this B population, because this age group has got lesser proportion in this population as compared to A population, which has got more proportion in this age group. So as a result of that, the crude death rate will be higher in A than in B. So I repeat it again, since the group A has a higher proportion, increased weightage or increased number of the older persons for whom the age specific death rates are higher, the crude death rate is higher in A, that is 9 per thousand I mean to say, and then B, that is 5.8 per thousand, even though the risk of dying for persons in each age group is the same. Then is the direct adjustment of the rates. If we see that the adjusted or standardized rates are needed, are required, and the crude death rate will not be helpful. Crude death rate will not be helpful in any case. Crude death rate is not helpful in any case. So we need to have the adjusted. We need to have the adjusted or standardized death rate. So first of all, the direct adjustments. Direct adjustments. The table 2 shows how this difference in age composition or weighing can be eliminated, thus permitting fair comparison of the two populations. This requires the selection of some population. So if we just see that the population, first of all, the standardized population A and B combined, then this is the combined population, and for A population the specific death rate is this much, 2 for less than 15 years, 6 for less than in between 15 to 44 years, and for more than 45 years is 20. And in population B, if we see it again, same 2 for less than 15 years and same 20 for more than 45 years, but if you just see in between 15 to 44 years, this is quite different. Over here it was the population age death rate was 6, and over here it is 10, and that would make the difference. And the difference is that the expected deaths in population A would be 27 for 44 to 15 to 44 years of age, and it would be 45 in B 45 for population B for 15 to 44 years of age. Now see it again. So in this instance, we have arbitrarily chosen the combined population of A and B as standard column 1, multiplying the standard population by the age specific rates in A and B yield the number of expected deaths in A and B respectively, as shown in column 3 and 5. Column 3 and 5. See the expected deaths for A population and the expected deaths for B population. The same everything, but over here expected deaths, as because the population is more in this group, the specific age specific death rate is more, the total death will be more. Note that the expected deaths in column 3 and 5 answer the question, what would be the number of deaths in standard population column 1 if people were dying at the age specific rates observed in each population, column 2 and 4. The answer is of course fictitious, and however we see that the number of expected deaths, that is 74, would be the same for population A and B. Also the age adjusted rates, that is 7.4 per 1000, are the same for A and B. This must be so since A and B have the same age specific death rates, and population differences have been eliminated by the use of same standard population. Thus age adjustment has demonstrated there is truly no difference between A and B in terms of risks of death. Let us assume that the age specific death rates for age 15 to 44 is higher in B than A, as we have seen over here. Which would result expected crude death rate in A would be 27 and it would be 45 in B. So this must be so since A and B have the same age specific death rates and the population differences have been eliminated by the use of the same standard population. Thus, age adjustment has been demonstrated. There is truly no difference between A and B in as far as the risk of the death is concerned. So let us assume that the age-specific death rates for age 15 to 44 is higher in B than in 1, that is 10 to 6, and per thousand, column 2 and 4, as seen in table 3, multiplying the age-specific death rates in those columns by the standard population now yields more expected deaths for B column 5 than A in column 3 as a result between A and B in the risk of death. As a result, age-adjusted rate is now higher for B than for A. A as expected adjusted death rates based on table 3. Now table 3 would certainly be telling that over here so now see it again, as we have been discussing, that if for population A and B the expected death rates are the same, then obviously the total for all ages would be the same. That is, you will just see that is the same, and in particular for this 44, 15 to 44 it is the same, then the total deaths would be the same. And if we go would be the same. And if we go to the table 3 and we see that for 15 to 44, which I have been repeatedly telling you, that the population age specific death rate has been over here is 6 and we have raised it to 10, then the expected deaths would be different. So as a result, the age adjusted rate now is higher for B, of course, as far as 15 to 44 years is concerned, and for the total, than for A as expected. So adjusted death rates based on table 3, group A 74 over 100,000 over 10,000 is equal to 7.4 per thousand, and is in group B 9.2 per thousand, means 92, I must say. It is beg your pardon, it is 92, it is 9.9, not 9.2, it is 92 over 1000 would means, and that would be 10,000, and then it will be equal to 9.2 per thousand. Now the indirect adjustment of the rates, we shall continue with the indirect adjustment of the rates as far as the mortality rate is concerned next time, and I hope you will be following me directly. A little bit maybe confusing at this stage, but if you continue the topics with me over the next few lectures, it will just be an easy and main road to travel. Stay blessed. Goodbye.